Trying to homeschool on a budget? This week, I'm going to tell you where you can get your best deals on homeschool curricula. Hey everyone, it's Amanda here at the Bealles, and today I am going to continue my homeschool series. You guys all seem to like it, and I had additional questions, so I am planning for the moment to do homeschool videos every Tuesday. So for the next 2 weeks, I am going to be talking about homeschooling on a budget. And I know that everyone wants to homeschool on a budget, but some people really need to, for particular reasons, keep the budget super, super tight. And I totally understand that. There are free curricula out there, and I'm gonna put some links down in the description box to just a few that I know of. Some are area specific, like Khan Academy is very specific to math, although they do have a couple of other options there as well. But some of them, like the most popular one that I know of is All-in-One Homeschool, is a complete homeschool curriculum and it's free. And the thing is that it's available and it's there and you can check it out and it's there. So, I mean, you can tell that I'm not very excited about it. I never named it in my recommendations because the thing is, just as with anything else, when something is free, it's usually free for a reason. And it's not that it won't work. I've said before, any homeschool curriculum, you can make it work. But that's just the thing. Usually with the free curriculum, you have to tweak it in a way to make it work for homeschool. They all have different challenges. Some of them might require more attention. Some of them might require more preparation, more tailoring. Or like I said, you have to make it work for a homeschool environment. For instance, Khan Academy has math tests and things, but if you're going to keep a grade book and keep records for your county or your state, depending on the records that you require, then that might be a little more challenging. You might have to really work to keep records of that. So the free curriculum is out there. You can make it work if you need to. And I certainly think you can use them all as a supplement. I've used them myself. And so I know that they are definitely beneficial tool to have in the toolbox. But they're really for experienced homeschoolers. I think that's who I would usually recommend it for because there's so much tweaking that needs to happen. So, but here's the thing. Like I said, I will recommend it to someone in a very extreme circumstance where they have to keep their budget low. And right now, we are in the midst of the COVID situation. And people not only are being thrown into homeschooling the first time, they're also thrown into homeschooling with circumstances that might impact their financial stability. So free curriculum, it's an option. But I want to tell you today, in part 1 of our Homeschooling on a Budget series, about how you can get other curriculum. The curriculum I do recommend, the curriculum that is more popular for a reason. I want to tell you how you can get it, or where you can get it specifically this week, at the best price. And so I'm going to tell you the different places that you can go to find deals on homeschool books so that you can get them, and you might have to pay a little bit, but you can still get a really good price, and that way you're not investing too much if this is your first year of homeschooling. So the first 2 places that I'm going to recommend to you might be challenging this particular year, but you know, perhaps maybe you're watching this in a year that's not 2020 and it's totally open and you can easily do it. But in the past, the first place I would recommend that people go is a homeschool curriculum conference or fair. And the reason why is because, you know, you can actually go and handle the books, see which ones you like, and a lot of times they offer discounts, sale prices, or even bundles at these homeschool curricula conferences or fairs. In fact, if you have a local fair, if your local homeschool organization has a homeschool fair, you might even have local homeschool moms who've set up booths with their old homeschool books that you can get at a really good discount. And the benefit is, like I said, you can go through them, you can look at them, you can see what's available, you can talk to the experts, you can get to know, if you're at a conference, the people who created them, if you're at a local fair, and you can talk to the moms who use them. So there are a lot of great benefits to that. In fact, a lot of homeschool fairs here in my local community, they usually have a free table. So if you don't have a lot of money, but you do want to try to spend it wisely, I think definitely making that one of your first stops is something that you should consider. But I understand that this year, there's not a lot of homeschool conferences and fairs. People have shut those down. So that leaves us with our other options. And the very, very first one I recommend, and the place where you're going to get the lowest price out of all the places that I'm going to recommend to you today, is a thrift store. Now, there's pros and cons to all of these in terms of budgeting. And the thing is, if you're working on a tight budget, you understand that sometimes you have to make sacrifices. So when you're dealing with things at thrift stores, I mean, you're getting the best price because largely speaking, the people who are processing them don't know how much they cost really. They just price it often with the regular books and not a separate price. So you're going to be priced for a hardback book or a softback book just as you would any other book. So a $50 homeschool book you might get for, $1.50. So you're going to get a great price. But the challenges are, number one, you're probably not going to find a complete set. And if you do, you're going to have to dig for it. Number two, you really have to plan ahead. You have to kind of know what you're going in there for. And you have to, look the whole year round. And you have to constantly have a list going where if you find something, you can take it home and mark that off your list. So it takes a little bit more organization if you're going to get the actual books that you want. Or you can compromise and just if you find a good deal and find one that works, take that home. And that's fine, but it's just one of those things you have to kind of consider which way you want to do that. The other thing is, a lot of times the books at thrift stores might already have marks in them. You might have a student that filled out the workbook in pencil, maybe even pen, and you might have to deal with that. And I'm going to be honest with you, because I've homeschooled on a budget for years, and most homeschool moms I know do this. We just buy used curriculum, and half the time we'll erase the pencil markings or white out the pen markings. We do it all the time. I probably did it every single year I homeschooled, because if I found a great, math student workbook, and this is a lot of times moms will buy the, for instance, the math student workbook, and they'll only do 20 days worth and decide they really don't like that curriculum and they'll just donate it. So then I'm just erasing 20 pages worth of marks and I'll do that. I will do that to get a $2 book versus a $30 or $40 book. I will erase 20 pages because they're not literally marking the whole page. It's just, a couple little numbers here and there and I'm done. So just know you might need to do that, but you can get a really good deal on quality curriculum and have exactly what you want as long as you're looking for it constantly, being prepared, and maybe be willing to, have something that you erase out every once in a while. But the thrift store is a really good option if you're truly on a budget. You can find good books all the time. Another thing I recommend to folks is that they hit up their local homeschool shops. Now, you might not even know one exists. There's one that I recently found out about that's 45 minutes to an hour away, and apparently some people in my homeschool group knew about it and some people didn't, and everybody feels like they've made this new discovery now, because a really good homeschool shop is an amazing thing. They're usually run by homeschool families, and again, just like with the homeschool curricula fairs and conferences, these people are knowledgeable about what they're selling. So when you go in there, first of all, they do have a wide variety of curriculum that you can look at and touch and get their suggestions and talk about homeschooling. It's a really comforting environment. But one of the cons is that, just like I mentioned, they're usually kind of far away because they're few and far between. But I'm telling you what, I would drive very far for a good homeschool bookshop. I mean, if you're going to have knowledgeable people and a wide variety of things, you will get the gas savings for sure. So they usually have them reasonably priced, not as low priced as you would get at a thrift store, not even close, and probably a little bit lower than you would get at a homeschool fair because they make it their business, so they're trying to be reasonable. But it's probably still going to be cheaper than any of the other places that you would get it, and you get the benefit of all the great service. So you might need to drive, but you have a wide variety, lots of help, and a very reasonable price. So if you can find a local homeschool bookshop, go. Even if you buy nothing, it's worth the look. Trust me, it is. Go at least once. And of course, where everybody ends up ultimately is online. So the two best places online are Facebook, and you actually have a couple options on Facebook. You have Facebook Marketplace, where people are just buying and selling in your community. And usually people that just want to sell locally are trying to kind of get rid of it and just don't want to take part in any of the fairs. So you probably are going to get a really good price with that, and you're probably going to have a local homeschooling family to talk to. But you're not going to find a lot of options usually, so that's kind of touch and go. But there are online on Facebook homeschool buy and sell groups that you might join, and you might see the listings that pop up there. So that might be an option for you as well, and you can certainly in the groups search by what you're looking for and maybe get a good deal. But it's just challenging. You got to worry about shipping and back and forth. And so there's some things with that, and you're not going to get the very best price, because a lot of times when you have people selling on a homeschool marketplace like that, they know what they're selling, they know what it's worth, and they want to get as much money out of it as they can, which you can understand as a homeschool parent because you invest a lot into it. You want to get as much back as you can because you're going to buy the next year's homeschool books with that. So it's not the very best price, but there is a variety. You can find it, and it's still a better price than if you were to buy it from, brand new from the actual company. So that's one option. And the other option is, of course, eBay. I shopped on eBay pretty much every year. And the great thing about eBay is that you can usually find those pieces that if you've been trying to find deals here and there, there's like one or two pieces that you just can't find. And if you keep an eye on eBay throughout the year, you're going to find it, and you're probably going to get a better deal than if you bought it brand new. So that is definitely one great thing about eBay. But again, you've got to know what you're looking for. You can't actually handle the books. You can't just type like homeschool math. You're going to get, probably hundreds of thousands of options. You've got to actually specifically say, Becca, 5th grade math, and just keep it more specific so that you're able to narrow it down. And even if you say a Becca 5th grade math, there's a lot of different editions. So you don't know if you're going to get the most modern one or an older one. So there's a lot of different options, but the more you can narrow it down, the better. And you're probably going to find a good deal. You do have to deal with the shipping. And the thing is that it usually comes media mail, which takes up to 2 weeks. It can take quite a long time to get your books if you have them sent through eBay. But I actually have found that eBay is much better than Amazon in terms of homeschool books because it's specific nature and it's easier to narrow down there. So that's just my personal recommendation for finding books online. All right, so that's it. That's where I think you can go to get the best deal on your homeschool curriculum. So if you're on a tight budget, I gave you some free options, and I told you about some different places that you can go and get a good deal. That's not entirely free, but you get really good quality books and you can feel confident about your purchase. So next Tuesday I'll be back, and we're going to be talking about how to homeschool on a budget, part 2, and I'm going to give you 10 tips on how to save on your homeschool books. Very specific tips. Hopefully they'll help you. So thank you for coming and hanging out with me here at the Bealles. And like I said, every Tuesday I'm going to come back and try to give you some more helpful information on how you can homeschool and homeschool well. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions. You can follow us on Facebook and Instagram, and also get us at thebealles.com. So you guys have a great day, and I'll see you next time.